Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto and I'm a photographer. Welcome to another video from Melbourne, Australia. Today I'm going to take a photo walk with my Ricoh GR3X, and while I'm walking I'd like to talk about something that we don't often talk. We are very keen to share advice on how you can improve your photography, how you can make better pictures. But how do you know that you have become a better photographer? Is there a way to measure that, or is there a way to somehow verify that you have actually improved and your pictures are better now than they used to be? I find it challenging to photograph in this area. It's not very street photography friendly area in a sense that there are not many people around, at least at this time of the day. So I'm trying to concentrate more on colors, light and shadow and things like that rather than people. And of course there are two main areas of improvement that we have to consider. One is the technical side. Are my pictures focused or are they sharp? Is my exposure correct? And the other one is the content side. Is there anything interesting in my pictures? Do my pictures convey the message I want to deliver, and so on? The technical side is quite easy to improve, at least up to a certain point. And it's also quite easy to verify that you made some progress. You can set yourself a goal, for example, that this week or this month I'm going to learn a new skill, technical skill. A new technical skill may take just a week to learn, but it can also take several weeks or even several months to learn, depending on the new skill that you want to learn. Some of the basic skills like nailing your exposures or nailing your focus is not that difficult, especially with modern cameras. You can learn those in just a couple of days basically if you really put your mind into it. But learning something more demanding like, I don't know, some astrophotography skills or something similar, that may take a long time. However, it doesn't matter what the new skill is that you want to learn. Set yourself a realistic deadline by which you decide to learn the new skill. And if you learned the new skill when the deadline is up, that is your proof and verification that you made some progress. Just in case you are wondering about my camera settings today, I'm in P mode, auto ISO. I want to keep it as simple as possible. The color profile I have in camera is the color negative. I think it's called color negative, I forget. But I'm shooting raw as always. I want to preserve the raw flexibility in post so I can change, for example, the color profile or the exposure settings, white balance and all those the way I want. I want to be able to fine-tune my pictures in post. We often like to say that a new piece of gear does not improve your photography, but I disagree a little bit. A new piece of gear can improve the technical quality of your pictures. This is one example. Let's say you want to get into flying bird photography. Then I think it's a good idea to get a camera that can reliably track that flying bird, because at least my experience is that flying birds are super difficult to photograph. It's very difficult to even get the bird in the frame. And if your camera can autofocus reliably on that bird, it makes it so much easier to get some sort of results. And yes, I know back in the day we used manual focus for everything, but if your main goal is to get some sort of decent pictures of flying birds, autofocus is the way to go, unless your main goal is to learn how to manually focus on flying bird. That's a totally different thing. All right, we have established that it's quite easy to improve your technical skills. But what about the content? There are so many areas of photography where the content is the main thing. I would go as far as to say that in pretty much every photograph, the content is the king and the technical execution is not that important. And if there's no interesting content, then the photo simply won't work even if it's technically perfect. But the improved content is so hard to measure or verify. How do you know that your pictures are now more interesting than they used to be a year ago or 5 years ago? How do you know that? One way is to look at other photographers' pictures, and if they look more interesting to you than your pictures, try to figure out why that is. I think it's virtually impossible for you to improve the content of your pictures if you don't know why you are taking the pictures you are taking or why you are taking pictures in the first place. I think that is fundamental question and fundamental answer to any kind of improvement in the content of your pictures. And also, when you look at other photographers' work, my recommendation is to go outside of YouTube, because here on YouTube you tend to be exposed to certain type of standard YouTube photography, and it gives you pretty like one-sided picture of photography, because the photography that is outside of YouTube, it tends to be a little bit different from the YouTube photography. So go to the library, for example, and dig out some photo books and see what the photographers outside of YouTube are also doing. And if there is a photo book that is being published by a publisher, it's curated photography, and therefore someone else also thought it's worth publishing. So it's not just someone like me snapping away here on YouTube and presenting my pictures that no one actually curated. It looks like today I'm shooting a lot more vertical compositions compared to what I usually shoot. I wonder why that is. Another way you can try to find out if the content in your pictures has improved is to ask feedback from other photographers. But I seriously think you should look for some sort of constructive criticism. If the feedback you get is something like, yeah, I love your pictures, they look great, it's not much of a feedback and it doesn't help you in any way. Of course, it feels great when people compliment your pictures. Who would not like that? But it does not improve your photography. You'll want the kind of feedback that actually tells you how you could possibly improve your pictures or the content in your pictures, how to make your pictures more interesting. And one more way to measure your progress as a photographer, of course, is to compare your latest pictures to your older pictures that you took maybe a year ago, 5 years ago, or even 10 years ago. And if you yourself can see any improvement there, both technical improvement and content improvement. And while you are comparing your new pictures to your old pictures, there are some things that you can look for or ask yourself. You can ask, do I now have a clearer idea why I'm taking my pictures or why I'm taking the type of pictures that I'm taking compared to 5 or 10 years ago? You can also ask, do my pictures today deliver my message better than they used to do 3 years or 5 years ago? Sometimes it can be a bit difficult to know exactly where you are at in your photography. But I hope this pondering of mine gave you some ideas or food for thought. This was not much of a photo walk, at least when you look at the pictures I got. But I still hope this was useful or maybe even entertaining, and if it was, please do consider buying me a cup of coffee. There's a link down below for that if you don't live in Finland. Thank you so much for joining in, and I'll definitely see you soon in the next video.